Just give me a reason to keep my heart beating. Don't worry, it's safe right here in my arms. As the world falls apart around us, all we can do is hold on, hold on.
What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to bring you my review on Itachi Shinden Hin, the anime adaptation. This is part 5, The Darkest Night. The Darkest Night, or the Moonlit Night, as the anime adaptation calls it. But this episode was supposed to be the central episode for this arc. Now, this was going to be the best episode. I thought this was going to be the pivotal and the best episode to see. A lot of people are saying this episode was incredible. It was amazing. However, I don't have that same feeling. And I know it's because I have more knowledge than most, because I've read, the first novel and I'm reading the second novel. So I had a lot of I've done a lot of translations for this novel, so I know what happens in the story. But at the same time, I feel like they left out some very important things. And I'm going to share those things with you that they should have put in there. But this was a very interesting episode. So I would give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 is pretty good, but it's not a 10. Okay, it's not a 10. It's not perfect. It's not amazing. There were some parts that were it was kind of upsetting and a little, I would say 7.5 out of 10. I'm kind of pushing it there, but it's close to 8. But I don't know, there's just one scene that really got to me, and I felt like they needed that scene, especially the way the story progresses in the novel. But anyways, the Akatsuki scene at the very end was very interesting, so that is a plus. And obviously the ending, right, the new ending, the ending music, that was very interesting, so that was a plus. Let's get into the review. So the first scene, Shisui's death. Okay, Shisui's death scene was very well done. Very well done. It's very, very heartfelt, very sad. Very sad to see Shisui die again, and, Itachi feeling that pain and awakening his Sharingan. I felt like awakening his Mangekyo Sharingan. I felt like his Mangekyo Sharingan was kind of, it wasn't that detailed as much as it was in the original, but, they had to make it, parts that were not as focused on. But it was a pretty good scene. I like that scene. In the novel, his final words, he says, Itachi, I entrust this to you. There's no one else I can trust, and you're my best friend. And he says, I'm glad to have met you. And this is a very touching scene where he says, I'm glad to have met you, because if you guys have followed my breakdowns, those are the same words he used when he first met him. He says, let's be friends, Itachi. I'm glad to meet you. So these are similar words, but to hear it in the past tense was kind of heartbreaking reading in the novel. So, but anyways, I like the scene. I like the scene. Alright, so moving on to the next scene, we have Teka, Inabi, and Yashiro. They're all basically saying, Itachi, where's Shisui, and why weren't you at the meeting? So they're basically saying that he's responsible for Shisui's death, or he knows where he is. So they are basically confronting him, and obviously Itachi knocks him to the ground. He's like, there's no hope for this pathetic clan. He throws the kunai, showing the Uchiha symbol being, pierced. So that's a pretty cool scene. And then he shows, and at the same time he shows his Sharingan, right, he shows his eye to Sasuke, he shows it, he says it to him in himself, and he's like, take a look how shallow our clan has become, Sasuke. And then he shows him his eye, right? And that's when he's like, Yamero, Nissan, you know, stop it. And so he eventually apologizes. Obviously, I didn't kill Shisui, but, you know, and his father, he has so many Anbu missions, you know, even if we were to arrest him, we need a warrant from the Hokage and all this. So it's a very nostalgic scene, right? And then later, we see him with Danzo, and he's got a mission, and he's going off, and then he comes back, and then Sasuke is there, and he's going off on to train, and he asks his brother, Nissan, let's train together. And, you know, he's like, Tsukareta, Sasuke, yuruse, mata kondo na. Tsukareta means I'm tired, right? He's very tired. And mata kondo na, basically, next time. I'm sorry, Sasuke. So we get that scene again. And then this scene was the interesting one where Itachi walks past Fugaku and he says, Nakano Shrine, please meet me there. You know, after the meeting, please meet me there tonight. Don't bring come alone. Don't bring your subordinates of the Anbu. And he's like, you know I can't do that. And he's like, why are you running away? And Itachi's like, Nigeru? You know, run away? I'm not running away. And he's like, running away from what? And he's like, your destiny. And I was like, what? Destiny? So we have this idea of father and son, you know, almost together in this plot of his, in this plan. So I like how the animation studio did this. And then we go off and, you know, he's with his subordinates anyways, and they're like, Taicho, what are your orders? Taicho means captain, by the way. And anyways, he's in the trees watching over as his mother walks past. He sees his father in there, so he goes off on his own. He says, you know, wait for my orders. So he goes in there, and Fugaku reveals he has the Mangekyo Sharingan. The Mangekyo Sharingan. Now I gotta say, I did believe he possibly had it, but in the novel, there's no mention of Fugaku ever having a Mangekyo Sharingan. It makes sense, okay? So I understand why the studio did it. The scene showing his subordinates, where he shows him his eye and he puts him in the genjutsu, he shows him the reality, you know, the what could happen to Naruto as a Jinchuriki, and it shows his subordinates going crazy with their Sharingan, and Fugaku is just, you know, chilling there on the Torii Gate, you know, almost as if he's kind of subduing, you know, Kurama there. It shows that he's a little different than we all thought, right? He's showing a different side of him. He's more peaceful, trying to come to terms with things. And he's telling his son, we can do this. A bloodless revolution. He's like, bloodless revolution? Kakume? Really? And so he understands, but at the same time, he can't believe his father. You know, he thought his father, you know, wanted to, you know, make a revolution by any means necessary, and here he's saying bloodless revolution. So he reports back to the Hokage, right? And we have to act now. We have to act now. So then there's the scene with Danzo, and Danzo reveals, you know, we have to act now. Again, you know, Danzo is there also, but by himself with Itachi. But I'm gonna let you choose. Die with your clan, or become, you know, our savior to, you know, stop the Uchiha clan and maybe save your brother. So I don't like Danzo. Nobody likes Danzo, right? He's a bastard, right? This guy manipulates. He, you know, sends people to their death. He basically wants power to himself. He wants to be Hokage and, you know, crush others under his basically his fist. But anyways, this guy, I never liked him. But anyways, then we see the scene with him looking out on Konoha. And this scene is my favorite scene in this episode, besides the Akatsuki. Now, this scene shows him looking out, and we see him looking at Naruto and Sasuke, so he's seeing the future. Obviously, he's looking past, and he's, looking around. Obviously, it's very hard for him, to decide what to do, what should I stay with my clan and die, or should I, try to save my brother and, there's a future somehow, But that scene was very interesting. He was looking out on the entire village, almost like a Hokage. So it's very interesting. And, he's got the wind blowing and he has that smile on his face. And he's smiling because he knows Sasuke, there is some hope out there, especially Naruto and Sasuke are there, so I did like that scene. Then we have Itachi meeting Madara. So Itachi lays down, I have conditions, help me with this mission, lay off my family and Sasuke, and you can handle anyone else. So they have their mission and they go off on the moonlit night. So the night comes and Fugaku sees Itachi, slaughtering his clan, and he's like, where will this bloodshed lead to? Where will all this bloodshed lead to? And he's like, there is no other way. And so Fugaku asks him, what is the future you see for our clan? And so he shows him his Sharingan, obviously, and he shows him the future of the clan, and he reveals Sasuke is the future. So Fugaku basically says, Sasuke, eh? And so what Fugaku does, Itachi's kind of worried because Fugaku has the Mangekyo, so he's like, this is my greatest opponent. So what am I supposed to do against my father? How can I fight my father? So his father actually has the showdown with Itachi, which was very interesting. I liked how the studio did that. But like I said, all these things were nice, but at the same time, this next scene I'm going to explain kind of put a damper on the rest of the things that were happening, and it kind of messes things around. Okay, so the next scene shows Tobi, or Uchiha Madara, basically killing off people, and one of them is shown is a girl, and she's Izumi. Izumi, yes guys, Izumi, the supposed girlfriend of Itachi Uchiha, the one that he's been with, shown by the lake, saving in the anime, all this time being shown with her. But anyways, she is shown, and he's there, so she is a target now, and he basically kills her. Yes, in the anime episode, she dies by the hands of Tobi, which is absolute bullcrap, bullshit. I hated it. It's complete BS, and it really upset me because there's so much to her character in this final this night that really helped Itachi realize the hope for the Uchiha. So it kind of really angered me. This was one scene that really didn't like. So, and the fact that she, was crying out, Tasukete, Itachi, help me, help me, save me. And that's her final words as we see this redness behind Tobi, and she's, she's dead. So, I just didn't like that scene at all. It really made me cringe. But guys, I'm going to reveal to you what actually happened on that night here in a little bit. So, the next scene, we go back to Itachi and Fugaku. They're facing off, and then we realize that there's no way Izumi is going to be saved because he's facing off with his father. So that's the reason why she dies in the anime episode, because he's preoccupied. And so his father concedes. He concedes, and basically later on when he goes to his house to commit, to take out his father and mother, they're waiting for him. Enter Itachi, and they're just waiting for him, and he's like, I can't fight my own son. And so it's very interesting because Fugaku really shows a different side of himself. We thought this guy, was more, hardcore, and here we're seeing the different, the gentle side, and the pride of the Uchiha as well. But more so, he takes over as a father than for the clan. He goes for, he's a father. You are my son. I care about you more than our clan. I care about you more than our lives. So it's very interesting that Fugaku does this, because Itachi does the same thing for Sasuke, right? He basically gives up everything for his, safety. So it's very interesting to me, and that scene is chilling, the same scene showing, and in the novel, the cover shows that scene, and as you can see, he's crying right before, oh, that's backwards, sorry about that. He's crying, basically right before he kills his father. His father repeats the words, "Our philosophies may differ, but I'm still very proud of you. You really are a gentle child." And as he cries before he kills them. So it's really heartbreaking, that scene, and it shows it, and wow, it was hard to see that scene again. But anyways, incredible Fugaku. Fugaku definitely was the one in this episode that really made it better, for me at least. But like I said, the Izumi scene kind of was a downer. It was one thing that really disappointed me, and that's why I was really disappointed in this episode. But even though I was disappointed, I still enjoyed it. So anyways, the final scene shows them rendezvous. The masked man and Itachi are on the rooftops. They're like, "What are you gonna do now? I have this group that I'm, forming, and it's called the Akatsuki, so you're welcome to join me." So Itachi says, "I have some loose ends." He goes to report to the Hokage, and then he goes back to Sagaru, his subordinates, and then they turn on him. They turn on him because they realize he's an Uchiha as well, so why not? So Itachi kills them, and then he goes back to Toby, and they go off in the night to meet the other Akatsuki members. So the final scene shows Orochimaru and Juzo. Juzo is the partner of Itachi to begin with. He's a 7 legendary mist swordsman. So it was very interesting ending. I really enjoyed that part of the episode. But like I said, the Izumi scene really upset me, because this was a very important scene. I felt it was very important for not only Sasuke but Izumi as well. And like I said, Sasuke was not really mentioned as part of this episode, which was kind of different. It was different. I thought that it was going to show a little bit, but it didn't show anything of him in that scene. So that's the episode for that. So we're going to get into the my portion, which I share my passages from the novel. So before we get into my passages that I translated for the novel, I want you guys to take a look at some of the screen caps from this episode, because they were quite interesting. I really enjoyed some of them. So yeah, take a look here. guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed those. So we're going to be looking at some passages that were not shown in the anime, and one was, but it was done differently. So there are 3 specific ones that were not shown. Actually 4 that I'm going to share with you. 3 of them include Izumi. So Izumi is a very important character I felt that was a part of the Moonlit Night that was not really touched upon, and the way she was handled in this episode really upset me, and I didn't like their choice to kill her off by Toby's hand. It just was not the right choice. I felt it wasn't right to do that. But anyway, these are the passages. So this comes from page, I believe, 172 from the novel, and this is called My Son. My Son is basically Izumi meeting Fugaku for the first time by chance. She comes to his house to look for Itachi, and he's not there. He's off on a mission. So here's what happens. Pardon me, is Itachi here? And you are... My name is Izumi Uchiha. I'm sorry, but Itachi is away on a mission at the moment, and I'm just not sure when he will be back. Is that so? Well, I'll come back again later. Sorry to have troubled you. Well, wait. My son can be blunt at times, but he's also kind, gentle. I know Fugaku-sama. He doesn't have many friends. Please do not leave him. I'm counting on you. Yes, all right. I promise. Well, I must be going now. All right, so it's very simple, very short, but at the same time, it has a lot, okay? So Fugaku says that, please do not abandon my son. He doesn't have many friends. He doesn't have close friends. You know, you're one of his close friends. Please, you know, stay at his side, you know. Don't, you know, keep him, you know, he's very isolated, you know, as his father knows that. It was very interesting to see that different side of Fugaku, as well as, you know, entrusting that promise to Izumi. So I really enjoyed that. I kind of wish they would have shown that in the episode, or even like just a moment with her, you know, while Itachi's off on the mission, she's at home meeting him. So anyways, that's that. Number 2 is called Outlook on the Village. Outlook on the Village. And the Outlook on the Village, obviously we're talking about the situation with the Uchiha clan, and also just the village itself. So we have Itachi with Tsugaru, which is one of his subordinates under him, right? Itachi is a Taicho. He's a captain of the Anbu under Danzo, and some of Danzo's subordinates are now Itachi's subordinates, and one of them is Tsugaru. Tsugaru is one of them. So they are having a discussion, and Tsugaru starts out by saying, "What about the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki?" And Itachi says, "Danzo is not the only one here who has deceived someone. Naruto is nothing more than a scapegoat in the eyes of Danzo. A sacrifice to keep the secrets of the past hidden. The village resents him, and this is no different than the Uchiha clan now. Our ancestors are the ones who have been deceived by the ones in power. This is the reason why we are facing such discontent. But Itachi, is there a way you can stop the hatred among the Uchiha? Is that even possible? Even so, I don't think Danzo can kill you, and we must decide quickly. You cannot escape his grasp now as his subordinate." So Tsugaru is telling Itachi that we must decide, you know, our action now. You know, are we going to side with the village? Obviously, you're the Anbu, you're supposed to. But he realizes that Danzo is a bastard, right? He manipulates people, he uses people. And obviously Sugaro knows this because he's been under him for a while. And he's kind of, you know, telling Itachi that, you know, he can't kill you, but, you know, you can't escape his grasp as his subordinate. You're going to have to go off on your own to be able to take him out, you know. So you can't be under as an Anbu and, you know, attempt to basically overtake his power or even, you know, kill him as a mission. You know, it's not going to happen because you're for the village. So anyways, that is the Sugaro and Itachi, you know, talk. So a little later, so this happens before he meets Danzo. Danzo goes and talks to Itachi. Obviously, they have their talk, you know, but actually, this is after Danzo. So Danzo's first. He makes the ultimatums. You can die with your clans, with your clan, or you can be part of the village and save your brother. So, or you can. I'm gonna let you decide. You know, choose your fate. Choose your fate. So then Sugaro, you know, and him discuss it. So then he goes off. You know, he's looking out on the village. We see him on the rooftops, and we saw this in the anime. We saw this scene, and what's different in the novel is that he recalls. Now we do see the scene where he's, you know, he's 4 years old. That is in the novel where he recalls his, you know, that battlefield scene. You know, that's very reminiscent. I mean, it's very engraved into his eyes. So he remembers that scene, you know, and then he recalls Shisui. So let's listen. Do you remember, like always, you could see right through me, Shisui? So he's thinking back to Shisui, and then he says, what should I do? Dosureba, dosureba, dosuru. What should I do? Please show me the answer. Show me the answer, Shisui. So he's calling for his guidance, right? Even though Shisui's gone, he's still calling for his guidance, his wisdom. So I really like this scene, especially in the novel, how he's, you know, recalling his best friend, you know, asking for his wisdom. So anyway, that is that scene. Okay, now the next two scenes specifically are about Izumi Uchiha. The first one, this is number 3, no turning back, no turning back. So, no turning back refers to the Uchiha clan holding their final meeting with all the clan members present, and Itachi intends to change their minds about the impending coup. After negotiations fail, he realizes there is no solution he can take. He leaves the meeting, so Izumi is going to follow him. Wait! Izumi had followed him, grabbing onto Itachi's shoulder. If you don't return, they'll think you are a traitor. It doesn't matter to me what they think. If you just talk to them one more time, they'll understand. There isn't any point. But if it stays like this... And without moving to see Izumi, Itachi shook away from her trembling hand. There's no turning back now. Itachi-kun! Izumi did not follow him again. So, it's another short scene, but this is a very important scene because it shows Itachi's ready to go through with the plan. He's finally, you know, come to terms with the idea that there's nothing else he can do. Right? There's nothing else he can do, and he's still, you know, tormented at the fact that he has to take out his own clansmen to do it. But he doesn't listen to Izumi, right? He goes off on his own. He says, "Don't follow me, you know, don't follow me." But she wants to, right? She wants to, but he's trying to protect her, right? Alright guys, so this last passage that I'm going to share with you guys is the one between Itachi and Izumi, and this one is very specific as the anime, you know, just killed off her character with Toby, which was highly disappointing for me. I really wanted to see this animated, the part where he puts her in a genjutsu of happiness, of, you know, envisioning peace for, you know, the village as well as her and Itachi together. So this is that scene from the novel. So I wanted to share this with you guys. I call it a dark night that reflected the brightest light. So the dark night is the moonlit night, and the reflection of the brightest light is the hope that Itachi finds within this envisioned world he creates for her. So this is the fateful night when Itachi's life would never be the same again. That night, Izumi Uchiha would realize the path Itachi would walk and die. Itachi carefully monitored his breathing as he listened to the conversation just down the hall. The room was lit by lamplight. Coming from the corner, there were two women speaking. One voice he knew very well, Izumi. The other was her mother. To cause a distraction, he kicked over the trash can beside him. "What was that?" a familiar voice asked her mother. "I don't know," the other responds. "I'll go check." Avoiding any suspicion, he quickly ducks into the hallway, entering the room from the side. Before the mother can scream upon noticing Itachi, he takes her out with his Sharingan. I should point out here that Itachi was not ready to kill his own clan, so he only knocked her out without an actual without conflict. Peaceful solutions is what he wanted, so he was not ready to go through with the plan just yet. "Mother!" The trash can was knocked over. "Itachi-kun!" Izumi saw her mother unconscious on the floor and didn't understand. She was stupefied. Why? Why? Itachi couldn't listen to Izumi's voice anymore, so he gathered chakra into his eyes and activated his Sharingan. Tsukuyomi. Izumi was left deathly still, unable to fight it. He put all the focus into his genjutsu. Tsukuyomi was a type of genjutsu where Itachi had total control of space and time. This was the power Itachi awakened when he awoke his Mangekyo Sharingan. Any time spent in the real world was a thousandth of a thousandth of time spent in the Tsukuyomi. This is 1/1000th of a second, and that is equal to 31 years in the Tsukuyomi. So 1/1000th of a second equals, wait, let me read that again. This is 1/1000th of a second. 1 billion seconds is equal to 31 years. So it says, in 1 second of the real world time, Izumi lived over 30 years in the Tsukuyomi. So that gives you an idea of how much she, was in the Tsukuyomi. So Itachi formed the genjutsu exactly to his desired image, peace in the village of Konoha. The clan is also peaceful and tranquil. Itachi is free of all suffering. Izumi is beside him, smiling. Izumi is following his footsteps, and she turns Chunin. In this time, Itachi had already reached the Jonin rank. Itachi gives Izumi a promise ring. Izumi retires from being a shinobi. Itachi, while still aware of this jutsu, realizes what Izumi was asking him sometime before. Something he would be besides a shinobi. He thought about it more and more, and he came to this conclusion. So, this is what it means to have peace. Okay, so I should point out that before the moonlit night, she met with Itachi recently after he became Anbu. So it was about maybe 4 months earlier. She meets with him and he's Anbu. They go to the park and they have a serious conversation. It's more of, what would you be if you weren't a shinobi? She asked him, what would you do if you weren't a shinobi? What would you be? And Itachi really didn't know how to answer because he's never really thought about it. He always wanted to, be a shinobi based on what his father showed him and what he felt like he needed to do for the ninja world. So he never really gave it any thought until he sees it through Izumi's desired image of Konoha. So when he creates this genjutsu, this dream world for her, he realizes what she was saying. So it's quite interesting. He provided a beautiful image of Izumi in a wedding dress, and Itachi is standing there beside her on their wedding day. Later, they returned to the park they went as kids and looked upon the mountain in the village of peace. They then had beautiful children, and both were very happy. They both raised their children until it was time for them to depart and go off on their own. Time passes, and Izumi gets older, but Itachi stays at her side. About 70 years pass, and both are very old, have white hair, and Izumi falls ill, but Itachi stays right at her side and cares for her. For the rest of their lives, they are together until the very end. Itachi did all of this for Izumi. The Mangekyo Sharingan wastes a lot of chakra and puts a large strain on its user, and as if he had just risen above water, Itachi was breathing heavily. All that time he had created that peaceful world, and now he was back to reality. Suddenly, Izumi falls to her knees while smiling at Itachi. He catches her and kept her body up, gripping her delicate shoulders tightly. "Thank you," she says. Izumi's voice was like an old woman who had lived to be 80 years old. "It is I who owes thanks to you." And Izumi, with a big smile, died peacefully. He had decided to start the massacre with Izumi. By starting with her, he undid all of his doubts. She was right after all. They were meant to walk the same path together. It was because of Izumi that Itachi changed his mind and was able to save that one last hope, his brother, Sasuke. If it had not been for her, Itachi may not have been able to undo the doubts that he had, because he was so riddled with guilt and didn't know what to do. In fact, we saw before, he was questioning even Shisui, what should I do? But it was this Tsukuyomi that showed him the things in life are precious to you. You must hold on to life. And Izumi showed him that. So he was able to finally save Sasuke. So that is what happens. It's really incredible what he does for Izumi. Sadly, she had to die because of it, but she died a happy woman. She died in happiness. So it was really incredible. Yeah, so that is my review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. There will be a breakdown coming soon on Sasuke and Itachi. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, this episode was probably around an 8 out of 10. Not perfect, but it was pretty good. I was highly disappointed with how they treated Izumi, but I shared my account with you. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, that's pretty much it.